Hey, hi everyone. Hi, Christina.
Hello. Hi, Joe.
Hi, hey, how's everyone? Hi, I'm DM Joe.
And I'm
And
Christina.
well,
Hey, what's up?
yes, I already said hi, Christina. Very useful. How are you?
I'm good. I am excited to be here. It's been a long freaking week, and I just want to talk some D&D, some geeky stuff, because
It's almost like if it's a disconnect from all of our regular situations.
right?
Just talking about it, not even having to play it.
Right?
I stand. I like that.
Friendly
I like that
reminder
for
that
us.
D&D and any tabletop role-playing game is not therapy, but it
But
sure
between us
fucking
two,
helps.
yeah, between us two very old good friends, it might as well be. But don't, this is not an endorsement to take any role playing as therapy. Um, get help if you need. Yes.
Hi, welcome everybody. This is a new episode of Is That an Owl Bear? A D&D podcast. Because guess what? We forgot to say the name of our own episode.
We did, and
Podcast.
we did, and you know what? We also forgot to say we have socials.
We do have socials. So if you want to do us a solid, or if you actually like what we're doing, because why wouldn't you? Go check us out on Instagram as OwlBearPod and Twitter OwlBearPod1. It's fun. We try to make it fun.
We
We try
try. We
really
include
hard.
things. You see a little pictures of the beasts that we talk about, and we also talk a little bit about well, other D&D things because that's what we're here to
calling
do.
I keep calling them cryptids. They're not cryptids, but
No,
that's the one thing that I can just like. This is what they are: weird animalistic creatures that are big danger. Cryptid.
danger, danger. Also, but it's funny that you say animalistic creature because today's one that I chose is animalistic, and I want to see how you
Oh,
hit that on the head once we get there.
I am
Um,
terrified.
As you should be. We should run a running count. Starting next week, I'll run a running count of how you're doing with your guesses.
I so far have failed, but once.
Ye-
I,
yes.
maybe that's a big maybe. I don't know anymore.
You
Honestly,
got
we
you
should
got
start it
troll right. I remember you got trolled right. So that's
less.
exactly. Imagine if you got troll wrong.
I called a freaking bard a troubadour because I could not think of the freaking name. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I try. That's all I can do.
As long as you're trying, that's all that matters, to
There we
be
go.
honest. As long as we're trying. I don't have a segue directly into what I was saying based off that, but
That's
what
fine.
we're
Let's
going to
get
talk
started.
about today is DMPCs and how I run them, what they are, what they do, and the general consensus we've seen online.
Okay.
So if I ask you, Christina, what is a DMPC, you would say
Uh, DMPC,
DMPC.
like a PC for the dungeon master, like an
Correct.
NPC.
That is the general gist of it. It's a
Okay.
DM, an NPC that goes along with the party on all their adventures. And as you well know, all of
All
my
right.
games have DMPCs. I always include a PC to travel along and help around and run around and
Yeah.
be helpful.
Right.
And I want to ask you, do you have you ever had any challenges with playing with a DMPC, or if it's something that you've ever thought about in a negative way, positive way, before we get in a little bit into what I've found online that has honestly surprised me.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I realize that there's a lot of sounds happening around my apartment right now, and we are recording in our respective apartments. So I apologize if there's any ambulances going by. It happens. Um, but to answer your question, no, no, I've never really, I've actually truly enjoyed the main lead, so to speak, NPCs that we get from you, in the sense of like we usually play with really large parties. The parties that we tend to have are substantial. Like we usually play with anywhere between what 7 to 12 players, give or take.
That
Yeah, right, give or
we've
take.
done a lot of that, give or take.
We have done
Vampires got excessively large, unnecessarily so.
Unnecessarily so, yes. So like we've always had a lot of players that we don't necessarily fully know what we're doing or how to what to explore, how to explore it, right? So your NPCs or the so to speak like flagship NPCs that we've had for very specific campaigns, for very specific games, have always helped facilitate the moving along of the storyline whenever we get stuck.
Yes.
So, which happens a lot. A
Yes.
lot. So, like, I've enjoyed them, and we've had some really badass, just freaking epic and legendary NPCs that have, yes, that have had like recurrent, that have been in how do I say that? That have been recurring characters in different campaigns. Also, there's several playable characters that, because of the status that they have reached within the storyline, have had to become NPCs. And at one point in the storyline, they were lead characters, they were main characters, they reached a certain status that for whichever reason had to be yielded to the DM, and that doesn't change the status that they have. So whenever they show back again, they need to, like, you have had to reflect the status of the character.
Yeah, no, it's be it that they die, get too powerful, unbalance the game, or whatever. There's a million reasons to retire a character. Also, a player can just be like, I want to play something else. And it's like, all right, let's play something else. Like, let's play another character. Give me this one. And I'm all for like making people, as long as they're happy, we can do whatever with their PCs. Obviously, talking with them. That's like a thing you'll hear in all of our podcasts, I think, is communication. Talk to your DM, DM talk to your players. Because it's important. But I am more specifically on the DMPC, it's the way it's written online and the connotation that's negative, and you'll tell me if I do that. It's an NPC that goes with the party always, who is better, smarter, stronger, knows the plot, and like taunts the players about it. And it's there to outshine. It becomes like the players exist around this NPC rather than the other way around. And honestly, when I was reading all that, I personally, before you answer, I don't relate to that, but I would love to hear your thoughts if you think that what those things are. We're talking specifically, obviously there's NPCs who are stronger than the characters who are leading them outside, bosses, quest givers, whatever. No, we're talking specifically people who venture with the party, who are always better. They'll take that final kill from the
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
What are your thoughts on those type of NPCs?
I mean, I don't think that you have done that. I don't think that you have done that truly. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there are moments given, like, not every session is a winner. All right, I'm gonna start with that. Not every session is a winner, and sometimes like the party still wants to play, even if collectively we're not fully feeling it.
Correct.
And it happens. Stories have lulls, and it might have happened at some points that on those specific situations you might have had to shoulder some responsibility in order
Yes,
for things to actually and
move
actively
forward.
get
Yeah,
done and get moved forward. But from that to actively be taking the limelight away from characters, from players, I don't think that you've done that at all.
I don't relate to that. And just on the note of sessions having lulls, a big thing that I've discovered, at least in how we used to play, a big of the problems that we used to encounter is that we used to have 8 to 12 hour sessions. That was more than a
Big
job.
mistake.
Big
Big
mistake.
mistake.
Big
Like,
mistake.
I got
Like
in trouble with my family. My mom was like, "Where are you going on a weekday with
for
like
12
for
hours.
12
What
hours? Don't you work?"
what
Like,
were we doing
at
for
that
12?
point,
I look back, I'm like, what was like, sure, the story could have been great, but like, what in the world were we thinking? But
like
it was fun,
it
but
was.
that's where those lows happen because people are tired, people need breaks, and we would just sit there and be like, go, 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 go. And it's
You
like,
know what it
why?
was? You know what it was?
What?
We
The
usually
excitement.
used
I don't know.
like the holiday weekends where
Mm-hmm.
people would actually take the time to go like to the beach
Yes.
or to the mountainside or whatever and like do
Leave the
outdoorsy
city.
stuff, and
Yeah.
leave the city and do stuff like that. We were like, all
We
right,
would
so
go
we're
to
starting
our
at noon. We're gonna bring some food. The shit is gonna
twice, two
start at
foods.
2.
Yeah.
Yes. This shit is gonna start at 2 and we're gonna keep going till 10. And then 10 got there and we were like, can we go for 2 more hours?
And
And
then
then
it
it
would
was
be
midnight. And then it was like, all right, we need to finish this. We're almost done. Another hour goes by.
mm-hmm.
And then recap, not recap, but like, all right, so
XPs, whatever.
XPs, like talking about the session, kind of like the aftercare, because sessions are
Aftercare.
intense.
Yes,
Sessions are
yes,
so
that is true.
intense. You need, and listen, I love everything that I am currently saying. Shout out to anybody in the KINK community that might be listening to, but it relates, man. It relates. You're with your dungeon master, you're having this long AF session of intensities, of things happening, of eventful situations that make your heart rate rise. And then after all that, you need to come back down. You need to reel yourself back in.
Unwind, unwind.
Unwind. You need that aftercare.
I
Okay.
even now playing, some players stay half an hour to an hour just talking about the session. But after they leave, I literally like I still after every game, I'm still kind of this like shell of a person who's just like,
It's
I'm just
intense.
gonna put on a YouTube video and like eat a Pop-Tart.
Just
And I'll
like
just
some
sit there with this,
lo-fi and just sit there like,
yeah, and just sit there with this face while I like unprocess. Because it's I like
it's emotionally
defragment all of it.
taxing.
It is, and but that's part of the fun of it. If it wouldn't be emotional taxing, I like to pull at you and make you feel and make
Yeah, of
everybody
course.
so it's fun. But
Do that.
in yeah, it's the best. But with the thing that I really like about my DMPCs, which is something I've been doing. I didn't do this originally always, but I do it now. I've done it in my last couple of games, be it in the Dragon Age setting or D&D, is I give my players like 10 NPCs that will accompany them, but they're at
Okay.
home base and they pick one to go with them in a mission. So
Okay.
they have all these personalities, these
Uh-huh.
characters that can be romantic interests, that can be quest givers, they all have their own like threads where, yeah, in that one thread, that NPC's storyline, the players help finish it, and that is that NPC's main little moment, but that's not the main
Okay.
storyline of it. And they
Mm-hmm.
can bounce around back and forth with all of this and do the different options. And I really enjoy how it opens up so many different role-playing opportunities because you can have different type of characters, different personalities. If you take one NPC on one mission, it will clash because they don't agree with what you did, but if you took another one, it wouldn't have that problem. And I've really, really enjoyed that. And it's never the point to outshine. They're not any better than any of the PCs absolutely ever. They're there to help. If for some reason in the campaign we have 4 mages or 3 or whatever, they'll be like, and that's the party that's playing, they'll be like, okay, we'll take the barbarian this time because we're gonna break and we need someone to
Barbarians are
tank
great.
for
I love
tanking.
barbarians.
Yes. So it's I don't know, I really enjoy using them that way, just a complete support pillars to lift up the players and have them on a pedestal. That's what I use my DMPCs for. And reading online, part of it, a lot of people say yes, that's how you should use them, and that some people still say no. If any DMPCs that come adventuring for us for more than a session should be killed or whatever. And I'm like, what is happening in these? What are DMs doing that are making players hate DMPC? I don't understand. Like it doesn't click for me. I don't get it.
That makes me really sad. That makes me really sad because one of the great things that I have been able to learn while playing with you. I'm sorry, my dog is sleeping and she's scratching the wall as she's sleeping. It's adorable. Anyway, sorry, segue. So like one of my favorite things is to get to know these characters that you've put in our way. Like just because a character is 3-dimensional doesn't take away from everybody else's experience.
Correct.
That's how I see it. Like we've had some NPCs that have been like pivotal for everybody else's storylines to get to point where they have to be. Like at the end of the way that I see it, at the end of the day, the DM is also like you guys, DMs don't really get the opportunity to truly play the game often. NPCs and well-crafted NPCs allow the DM to have a sliver of a moment to share that moment with the rest of the players, because we as players are having a great time with our friends, like just like with the banter, with the just like bouncing off of each other, developing the storyline. And a well-crafted NPC allows for that to go even further. It doesn't mean that the NPC is the lead, or that the NPC is the so to speak, quote unquote, messiah of this particular scenario.
Correct.
It's just a well-crafted character, and well-crafted characters fucking drive the story forward.
And they help drive the story forward. It's not that it makes the story about them. One of my players was talking to me about, she was telling me she had a DM before playing with us. I'll not name who this player was because then we'll know who the DM is in case he ever listens, because we know him. And she says that like, she's like, I couldn't play with him anymore because everything was about his NPC. She's like, he always was the strongest. He always had all the best stats. He always, for some reason, when he rolled the character, it was always 18s around the boards. And I can't even imagine, like, as a player sitting at a table and the NPC that's with you being like an 18 stat Steve Chad junkie, be like, I do everything.
Not a Steve.
And I have the full-on Steve.
No,
and
Steve, why?
It would be so frustrating. Like, it's about the players. The NPCs are there to help. Otherwise, what are we doing? So I don't know. And the reason we were doing a whole episode about this is because I think that DMPCs have a bad rep because of some instances where DMs are not using them correctly. And I kind of wanted to talk about like how to do them properly, which is players come first. And by that, I mean, I've even had players, and you're proof of this, where players are like, what NPC, what would you do? What's your vote? Like, how would you solve? And they'll give their advice. And then they'll turn it back to the NPC, and I'll even like break character and speak as DM, be like, "You're the players. It's
That's
your
true.
call."
Yeah, that's what you always do.
Yes.
And to be even fair, like we don't usually have just one NPC with us. We usually have two. And
Mm.
more often than not, well, we have more than one NPC, as it probably like the two that will
Yes.
allow for duality. So
Yes.
it is never like straightforward with we have to do this and we know this because this is what the NPC told us because this is the goal. No, because one NPC might be like, yes, this is the goal that we have to achieve, but the other one is like, yes, but if we achieve this, this is going to unfold, and that goes against what's pivotal in our party or our main
Exactly.
um like driving force.
Hmm.
So you as a DM, you tend to take us to these moments of convergence where we characters do what we players do what the game asks for. This is a
Hmm.
choose your own adventure situation. Ooh, my camera
Correct.
is doing that thing where it doesn't focus. Look at that. How
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice. How
You're
pretty.
you're
It looks
blurry.
pixelated. Oh, she's better
You're
now. She's
back.
better now.
You're
All right,
back.
great.
She said,
Fantastic.
"I'm
Moving on.
here."
She's here. Um, so
She
like
said, "We're
there
here."
so you do take us through the heartache and the need to figure out what best serves us the players in order to continue doing what we're doing. And
Hmm.
it's never as black and white as this choice benefits or sabotages the entire party. Like it's all over the board. One
Yeah.
choice that was given by this one NPC might be the most beneficial choice. It could be what lawful good characters will go for. It could be the most noble decision, but like, I'm sorry, if you've been on survival mode your entire freaking life, which is what most of these characters, for whichever reason, find themselves in, I am sorry, baby, but it's like every man for themselves, every person for
Hmm.
themselves. So just because one specific NPC is pointing towards one choice, you
Yeah.
as a DM have never forced your players to go with that one specific scenario. You
Correct. And
provide
I'll
us, yeah, you
with
provide us with one, two, three options
or
that
do
can
your
give
own
us,
thing.
yeah, that can give us like a multiple of other things to choose from
Hmm.
anyway. So nah, I will say that with you, if anything, we have too much to choose from.
That's my me and my big stories. Um, I
Epics,
I
epics.
yeah, that's how I like it.
Yep.
But that's why when I started like researching like this topic for this episode, I was like, what is happening? Like I mentioned it earlier, but like what are DMs doing that have people so adverse to DMPCs? I could so going back to the list is it's players come first always. Like if your DM is doing anything better on a constant basis, that NPC needs to die or leave or whatever. There is no
Kill
reason.
them.
Yeah. Second, fill in the utility role that the party does not have. You don't have a cleric? Guess
Right.
what? The NPC is the cleric. You don't have a rogue? Well, guess what? That is the lockpick guy. And if there's no rogue and he's the guy that lockpicks, yes, it's fine if he does that better because he is filling in utility.
Right.
Um, Third, they get to have stories, but the stories are not resolved without the players. Like the NPC will
That
ask the
part.
players, yeah,
That part.
that it's that the NPC will go be like, hey, I don't know, let's call your character Tulenzia. Hey, Tulenzia, come save me because
Why?
they
Oh,
kidnapped my.
look, I am.
Oh,
I
you're
yep. I
gone.
froze. Go on.
Come back to me, Tulencia. Basically is, oh, you're back. You talk again.
I muted myself.
Okay, you're back now. You're back.
All the technical problems. Hello.
All at once. Hi.
Welcome.
But yeah, the NPC stories and problems should not be solved without the player's input or entire like solution. And even if
Okay.
it's the NPC stories, is ask the players like, what would you do? Like, involve. It's about them. It's not about you. All you have to do is tell a story. It's never about you. Your characters are. They could be more powerful, but never more important. That is
Okay.
key in what
Okay.
the DM should be doing. I can have 1,000 more powerful NPCs than you because you're level 1, you're level 3, you're level 5.
Right.
But they're not, the story's not about them. They're the enemies, they're the quest givers, they're the. So that's my big like 4 things I think that a DM has to have in mind when having a DM PC with the players.
Noted. Oh, look at
Um
that. I learned something.
woo, woo, that's what we're doing here. We're teaching D&D. And it's just it's so important. And I want to then stress back the point of the players need to feel that their actions matter and that what they're doing is shaping the story. Otherwise, what are we doing? We're just sitting at a table listening to a guy tell a story. Like, that's not.
Yeah, no, that's not.
It's a collaborative. It's a
There we
group
go.
effort.
Exactly.
So keep that in mind, storytellers, dungeon masters, when you create your NPCs to go with a party. I read a lot that don't recommend new DMs to have NPCs with a party because they wouldn't know how to handle it. And
Huh.
I don't know how much I agree with that, because if it's a new group of players that have never played, having an NPC with them is 1,000 times useful. People don't know what to do. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of like, well, I don't know. So you can have someone to help them, guide them, shield them, be a little bit like, I have a little bit of information. Again, not about them. It's about the
Yeah,
players.
but if the DM is also young and inexperienced, that can be daunting as hell. Like if
Yes,
let's say that
that's
it's your
true.
very first. Okay, let's say that I, Cristina, were like, let me have let me do a campaign. Let me direct a campaign. I don't know the right terminology. I'm an actor. I use what I've got. let
You're fine.
me tell this campaign, this story. This is mine. I'll be the
Your
DM.
baby.
I'm baby. And I'm
Your baby.
gonna,
Okay. Yes.
yeah, I'm baby, but I'm going to do this right. Okay. Like there would be so much for me to be keeping an eye on that even though I know full well that I can commit to a character,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have the bandwidth to commit to a character to stay with the party
That part.
while also making sure that the strings that need to be pulled are being pulled correctly, while also suspending the disbelief of not knowing what is going on when I'm with the characters, when I'm with the players.
That's why I think rather than not have a DMPC, it's have a one shot, like have a smaller session. Don't start off be like, I'm gonna tell a campaign. I don't think it's more of
Okay.
a DM
Okay.
PC
I
type
hear you.
problem. It's just start smaller. Maybe start without a DMPC.
All
Start
right.
with
Okay.
simple
Okay.
things. Cut the fat and like trim the fat and just stay with a very linear story to get your wheels wet if you're a new dungeon master. And we could do
All
a whole
right.
episode about tips for a new dungeon master some other
I
time.
would I would love to to be here for that. Like I don't have a choice.
There is no
Because I
here
want to
without
learn.
you. There is no here
Yay!
without you. But well, that's our thoughts on the NPCs, guys. I hope that was a little helpful and a little bit on how to do it, why to do it, why not, what not to do. It's, I think, something to keep in mind when telling your stories.
Mhm.
So we're gonna go ahead and go for a little closing segment today. I sent you a
Ooh.
picture. I'm gonna go ahead and describe this creature. You can see that the bottom half of its body is furry, deep black spider legs. They're very jagged legs, and the upper torso is what you can best describe as a drow elf, darker skin, white hair, pointy ears. They have armor and swords. They look terrifying to find this just clicking and clacking towards you. What am I? Is that a what?
Nightmare.
Okay, you like saying that. That's a
What
that's a common answer for you. I
is
would
that? A
not.
fucking nightmare.
It's
Like
an
one of these
enemy.
days you're gonna throw me a nightmare and I'm gonna be like, that's a pony. I don't know. But this is like a tarantul elf. I don't
I actually like your name more. Toronto Elf is something I'm gonna start using, like calling them like in a like
yes,
condescending way.
please.
But these are actually driders, and they're basically
Riders.
driders. Yes, they're basically when a drow elf shows great promise. The goddess that like they worship, Lolth. Again, sorry with I know who she is. I don't play with her, but yeah. Sorry if the pronunciation is wrong. I apologize. Lolth summons them to
How do you
prove
say that?
themselves in a taste of faith and strength. And we're talking still that they're drow elves, right? Like at this point, they go and they're like, they're doing the gauntlets, they're doing the proof to this goddess.
Uh-huh.
And if you fail, if you aren't good enough, she turns you into this and banishes you to the upper world.
Banished.
Yeah. And basically, she's like, "You're trash. Leave." So they have to leave,
Oh
and
no.
they scarred for life, forever turned into driders. At the
And
material
like
plane,
does their intellect change? Like do they immediately become, are they innately aggressive, evil? I mean, being evil is a spectrum.
they're they're driven insane by their madness, and they disappear back into the underdark to become like
Okay, that would
hermits and
make sense.
hunters
I would go very fucking
because
crazy if I suddenly had 8 legs. Like,
yeah, I just wouldn't be, it wouldn't be correct. And very rare do driders come back to drow society and like
oh,
antagonize them. The drow fear them and they shun them because they think that they're worse even than in their mythos. They're worse than slaves because they've been shunned by their
oh,
goddess. Yeah.
oh.
And they at best tolerate the presence of these creatures as living representations of Lolth's will, and a reminder that fates awell all those who mess with the Spider Queen. They're like a bad omen, bad. Just driders are
Oh
fucked.
no.
Fucked.
Oh, that is so sad.
Driders
That
are,
is so sad.
yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
like I
There's
feel
a
bad for
quote.
them. Like, go on.
There's a quote here that just says, "I failed the Spider Queen once, never again." By
She
Pelani
won't let you.
Mistra, the drider. She won't. She turned you into a drider, and you're like, well, bye.
I just feel bad for them, but I feel like if I were ever to try and be like, I am so sorry, I would get eaten. It's kind of like how I feel with bears. I desperately want to pet one, but that would be the last thing I ever do.
Yeah, don't,
I
mm.
want to pet a
Yeah,
bear so bad.
don't pet bears. That's don't pair owl bears either. Um, when in doubt, don't touch wild animal, guys. That is what we're gonna leave you off with. I
Yep.
think it's important. Once again, I'm DM Joe. You can find me at Twitter at Joe Harrell. You can find Owlbear Pod at Owlbear. You can find is that an Owlbear podcast on Instagram at Owlbear Pod or Owlbear Pod 1 on Twitter.
Or if you want to send us an email for whichever reason, you can send it to owlbearpod@gmail.com. And you can find
That's
me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitch as Crispa Contreras. I try to stream a lot on Twitch. It's a fun time. We do a lot of Mario Kart and a lot of PS5 when I get the chance. There's some Sims also. Come and check it out. It's funny. And you can find me on TikTok and Twitter as Crispa120. And yeah, that's basically it.
That's us. Thank you again, guys, for listening to another episode. And if you're new, thank you for. We hope you check us out again, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.